Well, howdy, 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 nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and to all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to a brand new day of me waving my hands in the air like I'm conducting an invisible orchestra. Thumbs up for that. It is gray and chill, and it's raining, and I slept some, and that's good. Definitely a thumbs up on that. Hopefully you're able to sleep, and hopefully you're not in a bad portion of the world, or at least in the United States. We're in for a bad week, apparently, with massive storms coming in and flooding in a lot of places. And I watched a video this morning that says if you're in a flood area, make sure you never go into the attic. Because if you go into the attic to hide, make sure you got a way to get out of the attic, or you're going to be somebody's nightmare when they find your body. So make sure you take with you a way to get out of that attic. And hey, front loading of videos, if you could toss me a like, it'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, that would be double plus good. And I'd like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These are literally beautiful and literally awesome people who help to keep me and my aging pets alive. Oh, it's rough to age out of life. Thumbs up for that. But if you would like to be one of these beautiful and awesome people who are in fact beautiful and awesome, I have links in the video description. Salivating around my dentures here, my apologies, and a PayPal for possible donations, an Amazon wishlist link with stuff like pet food, and of course my post office box where if anybody sends me anything at all, I'll open it up on camera and we can all go, hey, this is cool. So thumbs up and front loading over. Yay! So yeah, stay out of attics. I did not know until watching this video, because the video I watched is from a guy in Florida, where they have tornadoes and hurricanes and flooding. And yeah, stay out of your attic unless you take something to get out of that attic, or they're gonna find you days or weeks later. Ugh. So I did not get a ton. I am speaking English. I did not get a ton done yesterday. Yeah, it doesn't sound like English, but it is. And I don't know if this has anything to do with this or not, but I just discovered this morning that one of my housemates who has a job out in the world, in a retail job, most of her housemates, most of her co-workers all have the covfefe bug. So she might. And my other housemate has been sick since the 1st. Could be the covfefe bug. So I've been living in a house with people who are sick. I don't have any sort of precautions I take when I'm in my own home, aside from washing my hands often. So if they've got it, guess who else is going to get it? I've been vaccinated, I've been boosted, but it's been about a year since I got my booster. So here's hoping I don't get sick. But if I do, thumbs up for that. Still though, life is life. But as stated, yesterday I didn't get much done. I wanted to get some printing done because it was the first day that I could get printing done in the library, because you get $44 worth of free printing every month if you are a member of the library. And so that's cool. And I went there yesterday and I got some printing done. I went there around noonish, because I had already figured I was going to edit the video I had recorded the day prior. So I went up to the library and I got my printing done, and it ended up being kind of frustrating because in the end, it did turn out to be the end, but I didn't know if it was done printing. When you upload a queue of jobs to print, when you go to the library, you go to the copiers, you log in, and then it releases that queue to the printer, and then the printer goes through and starts printing all this stuff. Because it's released and sent to the printer, I don't know what's going to happen if something happens to the printer. And toward the end of the run of printing, it was saying you need to put paper into the thing. And then finally it just stopped and wouldn't do anymore, because it would say you need to put in paper, and then that would go away and it would print. This time it didn't go away. So she just came over and turned off the machine and then turned it back on. And of course, because she'd done that, it had logged me out. And I had no idea if it had actually printed anything. Well, if it had needed to still print things that were just erased because she turned the machine off. And that's bad if it hadn't, because I paid for those. And so that would have just been, whoop, I got nothing and still paid for it. I mean, paid for it, and that is the $44, but still. But I came home and it looks like everything printed, so that's good. And I printed out fully the game Drifter, all in black and white, but the actual person who authored the game left a comment saying, for aesthetic purposes, it is best if you print it in color. But it is perfectly fine to print it in black and white. It will work. So I have the game Drifter all printed out. And imagine my surprise. I had no idea this map was this big. And so when I sent it to the library to get it printed, I didn't know how big this was going to show up. So imagine my surprise when this gigantic sheet of paper comes out of the photocopier. So this is the full-size map that is color, but this probably would have been about $5 to print in color. So it is just in black and white, but this is gigantic. It's pretty cool. And then the actual game itself, I have all printed out and put into this notebook. So I just need to read the rules part, and 95% of this book, that is the rules and such, is 5% rules, 95% stuff you find in the game, because there's encounter upon encounter upon encounter, and each encounter you roll like a d6 to find out what happens in that particular encounter. So if you have like 90 encounters, each of them with a d6, well, just like a deck of cards, you have 52 cards times however many cards are left if you take one out to make. There's a lot of different combinations. So there's a lot of different combinations. Yes, you're eventually going to run across most of them and get bored if you play it 10,000 times. But as long as you leave time in between, that should be enough to last quite some time. I do plan on running this for the channel. It'll be very cool. Thumbs up for that. Because I went up to the library and printed that, I came back, did my editing, uploaded my video, and then because I'd gone to the library and stopped at the store on the way home, I had no real reason other than exercise to head out on walkies. And since I'd already walked up the library and back, even though that was only about maybe 2 miles, you don't have to get moderate exercise every day. They suggest you get a minimum amount of exercise X number of times a week, and it's a lot if it's minimal. I can't remember the amount. But if it's moderate exercise, which is race walking like I do, a bare minimum is 2.5 hours per week. I don't feel right unless I get 2 hours per day. But I have been doing that and more for years. So a few days here and there where I do slightly less ain't gonna hurt me. I just don't feel right up here. And of course, where I am on my own autism spectrum, I require routine and habit for my day. And that was a shattering event. And every time I do something like this, where I go up to the library during the daytime and then my whole day is shattered, it is ruined. I got nothing done for the rest of the day. There was no place for me to go walkies and think creatively, because I didn't go out walkies again. I mean, I got my book stuff together, but all the things that I normally do, I didn't do. And so I had fallen asleep issues. They were just, I got nothing done yesterday, and I don't feel really good about it, but of course I'm not going to beat myself up. That's not going to help. So let me just check on here and see what else I've been talking about here. Oh, there's a creative stuff, but I'm going to come back onto that one for just a minute, Talking again about solo RPG stuff. I have because of my ADHD, I have issues getting things done right at times. I have tried periodically to get a bunch of these smaller RPG stuff things printed. I thought I had printed up these smaller RPG Cairn. I accidentally printed the saddle version of it, and so it's like you'll have page 14 here and page 9 here on the sheet of paper, which if you have it saddle stapled, then it makes a booklet, but I don't have that. And so it's all just in a mess. I can't use it. Yay. But when I'd mentioned before, a lot of these games build on each other. I've mentioned that there's like the game Swords and Sorcery, and then there's the game Maze Rats, which is built on Swords and Sorcery, and Knave, which is a smaller game built on Swords and Sorcery, and then Cairn, which is built on Swords and Sorcery. More than that though, Knave is built on top of Swords and Sorcery, and Maze Rats and Cairn are both based on Knave, which is based on Swords and Sorcery, which is based on old school D&D. The fun thing about these is they are full, complete, and absolutely good role-playing games, each one of these things, and they're small, generally about 20 pages. There are smaller components that people then come out and sell on their own as how to play solo in Cairn, how to play solo in Knave, how to play solo in Maze Rat. They're largely the same because they largely rely upon oracles, dice rolls for making your decision. The difference is a different philosophical approach for the questions that you ask the oracle for each game. So hopefully I'm going to get the game Cairn printed up again soon and do it properly this time and then go from there. So yay. Also messing up on the whole printing front, I don't have them here. I don't know where I put them. I printed up some plans to make a dice tower out of foam board. Of course, if you're going to do that and cut them out so you can put them on foam board, you need to have them printed on individual sheets of paper. It, of course, put them double-sided. So, I've got to go and draw out one again anyway, no matter what. So hopefully that'll work out. It'll be a good thing. That's basically it. All I have past that is I've talked about the creative things, and I don't know. I probably am affected up here. I'm probably sick with at least the Covfefe bug because I've been vaccinated and boosted. If I am sick, that means, I might be so mildly ill that I barely notice it or not. It's hard to say, but I am finding it difficult to use my brain today. So joy. I'm going to try and talk about some of the creative stuff that I have been thinking about still, because I've been doing my best, because I do want to do stuff with the subjects. I had been thinking, because I've mentioned before how, I can't, because of my brain and my ADHD and all of my various conditions, I would like to talk about in a very detailed way about my various settings, but it's going to be a very, like one video I'm just going to ramble on about, what life was, not life, but the universe before and what it was, the multiverse. Okay. I've mentioned in the past, but I'll have to talk about this again because my brain is not functioning. There is the Ungabe, the Ungada, the void, and then something happened when there was energy that came through and it formed a singularity with energy that formed all the various multiverses. This is what I mean. Spend 20 minutes rambling about that sort of thing, and then how multiverses work, and then the coming of the cosmic horrors, because Amaterasu, dread Amaterasu, is largely the reason that any of this is happening. If it hadn't been for the coming of the cosmic horrors to this particular multiverse, none of this would have occurred. There are several multiverses, one in which nothing happened. But then there was a split, and the multiverse split because these other alien beings from a higher level of reality built a city on top of the multiverse, using that as a foundation. From there, the universe split again when Dread Amaterasu came out of the Ungata and landed on the city. This is impossible. Amaterasu is impossible for many, many reasons. But her landing there from a different multiverse and traveling an infinite amount of space through nothing that will literally destroy everything, she is impossible for many, many reasons. And if she hadn't showed up and born her 12 children, there would have been none of this happening, because of the pressures of these cosmic horrors that causes universes to melt a bit, get a little loose at the edges, so energy leaks out and soaks in. And of course, especially when they're being formed at the configurations in the very heart of the multiverse, when these energies will pour into the configurations and become a part of the new universe. There's a lot to talk about, especially with Dread Amaterasu. So, thumbs up for that. I have been thinking, of course, about all of my cryptid type characters. I have been thinking a lot about how the non-human type cryptids, because there's two of them right off the top of the bat. One of them I haven't talked about yet because I've been thinking about this. There is Sanyo the spider, who is very, very lonely. They are a large collie-sized spider. That's the body. The legs are much, much larger. But they are a spider cryptid. They have become an urban spider cryptid. There are very few urban spider cryptids. They are very lonely. This is why they try to talk to people. And so that doesn't work out well until they finally do locate someone who has no arachnophobia and is had their sight open and is willing to actually talk. There's also another cryptid that is non-human, and this is Tarek. And this is a snake cryptid from South America. There are cryptids that are, smart like people. And then there's plant cryptids, insect cryptids, fungal cryptids, there's animal cryptids, all sorts of things that we as normal humans can't see, but they exist in their own world. One of them was this snake cryptid, was caught and was being shown off by some unscrupulous types who have the vision to show off in a type of zoo, and then it ended up in the United States where it ended up breaking free. This snake has also expressed its own genes and gone from being just an animal to a snake cryptid type. It is intelligent, and it wants to be not feared. It wants to be not lonely. It's in Brooklyn, South Carolina, and people are scared of large snakes and scared of large spiders. Even cryptids, human-type cryptids, generally are scared of these type of beings because generally they are feral types. And feral types and urban types generally don't mix all that well. The only ones that get along with the feral types are the rural ones. And even then, it's only a small number and subset of the rural types and the feral types that get along. So everyone's frightened of these two, which is why they're so lonely. So there's Sanyo and Tarek that live in Brooklyn, South Carolina, trying desperately just to not be lonely. They end up as friends, and at least Sanyo finds one human friend, someone to talk to. So that's a good thing. So I'm still working on these settings. And I've opened up 24 hours with the comments on my community tab. Going to go through and thank however many people have left me a comment in the past 24 hours. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count in American Sign Language, well, my ADHD, I'm medicated for it, but you can't tell. RJ Mitchell, good to see you in the comments, and thank you very, very much. You made my December a whole lot better. It was a very good thing. Thumbs up, thank you much. Jesse Koskinen, thumbs up, and very good to see you in the comments. Please be very careful at work. Do not get overworked. We have Wumbo with some good advice. I'm having so much trouble trying to run while playing Minecraft. Double tapping the keys to run. Normally no issue. This last time drove me crazy. I forget you can press the control button. We have Shinra, thumbs up, and I don't know how many people would watch me just doing a peaceful world instead of survival. I don't know. I mean, I enjoy, but without the actual threat of terror and violence, it kind of lacks something for me. So, I mean, I'll still look into it and we'll see. But thank you very much and good to see you. We have Floramu, thumbs up and thank you much. Giovanni, Lobeira, says, what nationality? If you mean, well, I mean, I live in the United States, so I'm a United States citizen. And I am just, for ethnicity, I am just a mutt. You know, obviously, I'm Caucasian, I'm so white I glow in the dark. But I'm just a mutt. I have no ideas what my heritage is. So we have Cynical Citrus, thumbs up, and who has a good idea. I'm gonna have to check how to make the chat box smaller in Minecraft. And then there is Chris, thumbs up, thank you much, good to see you. 77 Arcturus, you always bring up lots of interesting things for me to talk about, and I keep forgetting to talk about them. I sincerely and honestly hate having ADHD. It has ruined my life. And then we have Glowing Turtle, who is actually the author of Drifter. Thumbs up and thank you. And that is actually that. Greatly appreciated to each and every one of you that left me comments to get me out of my head, into the world, and dealing with real people. So thumbs up. And of course, try to do what you can today to get the things done that you would like to get done. If you can't, survival is important, and do not beat yourself up for not being able to do things. It's not going to help you do things better next time. You're just punishing yourself for no good reason. And of course, with the covfefe bugs still a-raging, please take precautions for your area and situation. And of course, if you're out walking and you hear the mournful howl of that bus horn, the bus with somebody's name on it, let's hope as it gets closer, it's going to impact with somebody else and not you. Because if it does impact you, oh boy, yeah, you're going to die. And your corpse is going to be disgusting when it's done. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very good thing.